We all make mistakes. We've all said things we wish we hadn't, done things we wish we could undo. And yet, if you look back honestly, you will see that at that time, with the understanding and consciousness you had, you were doing your best. It's a curious thing, isn't it? We stand in the present, armed with new awareness, and we look back at the person we once were as though they should have known what we know now. But that earlier self could not have. It was moving through life with the tools available at that moment, with the clarity or lack of clarity it had at the time. To condemn yourself for the past is like scolding a child for not knowing calculus. You learn through fumbling, through error, through falling down. That is how the game works. Every mistake was part of the path that brought you here. So forgiveness begins not with grand gestures, but with this simple recognition. You were always doing your best, even when your best looked clumsy or confused. To see that is to soften. To soften is to begin to forgive. To forgive yourself is not to erase the past, nor to pretend it didn't happen. It is to see it for what it truly was, an experiment in being alive. Every choice, every blunder, every harsh word you regret was not a crime against existence, but a step in learning how to walk. The trouble is, most of us carry our mistakes like stones in a sack, dragging them along year after year. We replay scenes in our heads, wishing we could edit the script, but the past is finished now. It is only an illusion carried by the mind. To keep punishing yourself is to argue with what no longer is. There is a difference between learning and self-condemnation. Learning is alive. It opens the way forward. Condemnation is dead weight. It chains you to an old version of yourself that doesn't even exist anymore. Compassion for yourself is to let the stones fall, to lay down the heavy sack, and to see that you are no longer the one who stumbled. You are the one who learned from them. And in seeing this, you take your first step into freedom. What is true of yourself is also true of others. When a person acts in a way you call wrong, they are not choosing from infinite possibilities with perfect clarity. They are acting from the limits of their awareness, from the conditions that shape them. If someone speaks in bitterness, it is because bitterness has taken root in their heart. They learned it from the soil of their upbringing, from wounds you may never see. And so to condemn them outright is to forget that they are already living inside their own punishment. A person who lashes out is not free. They are driven by pain, by fear, by confusion. To meet them with more judgment is to add weight to what is already unbearable. This does not mean you must accept every cruelty or excuse every harm. It means you begin to see the human being beneath the behavior, the child beneath the anger, the suffering beneath the mask. And when you see this, even if you must walk away, you do not carry hatred in your heart. That is the beginning of forgiving the world. It is easy to judge. Judgment is quick, effortless, and it makes us feel superior for a moment. That is why most people do it. It costs nothing. But to understand another human being, to actually imagine their inner world, that is difficult. It requires us to pause, to think, to feel. And this is where the highest kind of intelligence comes in. Not the intelligence of solving puzzles or memorizing facts, but the intelligence of empathy, to see yourself in another and another in yourself, to recognize that their anger is your anger in another form. Their confusion is the same confusion you once carried. Their blindness, the same blindness you once struggled through. It is the deepest strength, for anyone can strike back, anyone can condemn. But to look into the eyes of another and see the suffering that drives their actions, that is a rare and subtle wisdom. When you understand in this way, forgiveness ceases to be a moral duty. It becomes a natural response. You see, there was never anything to forgive in the first place, only pain to be understood. There is a saying, hurt people hurt people. Pain has a way of reproducing itself, passing from one to another like a contagion. Someone wounded in childhood may grow up to wound their own children. A bitter word spoken to you may be repeated unconsciously to someone else. And so the chain continues generation after generation. If we do not awaken, if we do not forgive, we simply pass the poison along. We become the very thing we once suffered from. And in this way, the world remains locked in a cycle of resentment and retaliation. Forgiveness is the refusal to play that game. It is the decision not to pass along what was handed to you in anger. It is saying this stops here, not because the other person deserves it, but because you no longer wish to carry the burden forward. In that moment, forgiveness is not about them at all.